He is a rising folk singer from Nashville with a well-known father in the music business. So where does he go for a record deal? Why, Chicago, of course. Here's an introduction to a once troubled young man who's proving that the Music City's loss is the Windy City's gain.
Music really kind of finds that real sweet spot between old-time music, something that sounds really timeless, but also it follows that great singer-songwriter tradition of the 70s.
We just drove in from Nashville, Tennessee. We made it about to Indianapolis last night.
We met Justin Townes Earle and bandmate Corey Younts the day after they attended the Americana Music Awards.
We were in Nashville for the AMA Awards. We did one song, and I was nominated for an award, which I did not win. My songs tend to come from the fact that I tend to spend too much time alone, and I read a lot. One of the things I read a lot about is the American Civil War. I tend to be a cocktail napkin writer, and I kind of write on the go.
I think he's emblematic of that sort of artist who's working completely outside of the mainstream and finding, how he fits in.
He fits Bloodshot perfectly. He loves all the same stuff that we do, and he's attacking it with the same passion that we try and go at all the time. I had heard his name around for a couple years, but because he was the spawn of someone famous, I kind of ignored him.
That someone famous is Grammy winner Steve Earle. Over 25 years, the elder Earle has recorded bluegrass, country, and rock, and contributed to the soundtrack of the film Dead Man Walking. More recently, he appeared in the recurring role of a drug counselor in the HBO series The Wire. There was a time when Steve Earle got a lot of attention for his personal life, including 7 marriages, jail time, and substance abuse. And for a time, his eldest son was developing some of the same appetites.
Yeah, well, I was doing a lot of before I came to Chicago, and I think that the big difference was I was a kid from a smaller city where dope being heroin was extremely hard to get, extremely expensive, and usually really terrible. And then I moved, so I kind of lived off of painkillers and that before I moved to Chicago. And then I moved to Chicago, a city where there's a shitload of heroin, and it's really cheap and it's really strong.
Listen to this thing.
In January 2000, 18-year-old Justin was living in Chicago, and his father was teaching a class at the Old Town School of Folk Music. Channel 11 was there for an impromptu jam session between the now sober father and his teenage son on the cusp of trouble.
1, 2, 3.
There never really has been a dynamic between me and my father. It's like it doesn't matter. I mean, we both went through our periods of being a wreck, but we still get along just as good or bad as we ever did.
I couldn't say nothing but baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't go.
After a nearly fatal overdose in 2004, Justin sought help and quit his destructive ways. Now he wears his sobriety as confidently as he wears his name.
I get what I get from my name, but then we just gotta, I have to back it up, right after that. And so it helps and it hinders, it does all kinds of things. But, it's just like, it doesn't really matter. You just do what you do and, and see what comes of it. I love Chicago. I've never had anything but fond thoughts for the city, and I still love coming back. I loved hanging out at the Old Town School, and so yeah, I had a lot of fun while I was up there. Yeah.
Bloodshot really brought the focus from out of town into Chicago as a sort of a hotbed for country music. It's been here for a long time, but I think Bloodshot really gave voice to it on a larger scale.
He understands what it is to be a musician in this day and age, and he's willing to do it, and he's willing to do whatever he can to get his music out there.
For now, that means dividing time between his home in Nashville and his home away from home in Chicago. For a young man whose life almost ended, his real trip is just beginning.
I don't know where I'm going no more. I'm going. I don't care. Thank you.
Justin performs this Saturday afternoon at the Chicago Country Music Festival in the park just east of Soldier Field. For more information and a link to a video, you can visit our